clicking and listening. New Zealand Warriors are first up. Let me get the slideshow up. Here we go. So once again, I'll go through the first one, the gains and the losses here. Again, thanks to the producer, Jez, who, by the looks of it, hasn't turned out exactly how we wanted it to turn out once again.
Why did it do that?
Are you happy with this one, Jez, this week?
No,
Gains,
look what this is.
Losses.
What? Anyway,
so much work, guys. He was so happy with this. Behind the scenes, let's peel it back. I think it was this morning. He goes, I tried to change how we looked at some of the teams and the mix-up of it and for weeks to come, and quickly just shut it down. Nope, slides are done. I've already done everything. I've worked hard in the school holidays. It's all good, but here we go, the final product, and we're talking about the gains and losses for the New Zealand Warriors. So Kurt Capewell obviously has come over recently from the Broncos. Chanel Harris-Tavita's back from his basically a year away on Kentucky, so I'm pretty sure he went on and needed to just get away from the game, so he got to enjoy Europe and the like. I think that was that. Am I right there? He did say he just wanted to get away and travel the world and stuff.
Said he wanted a year away from the game, I believe.
Yeah, but then he ended up re-signing. So he wanted to step away, but then went, nah, I'm coming back.
He's back. Obviously, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck from rugby, huge. The losses, Josh Curran to the Bulldogs, Bailey Sironen. Yeah, this is Bailey Sironen to Catlins. Billy.
Yeah,
hang on. Jez, the producer, we're having an off chat about this one, mate. Viliami Vailea to the Cowboys. Braden Williami retired. I think he was at Para at one stage, so he's been going a lot longer than I thought he was going to go.
And it's
so there we
go as well. Just putting that out there. I'll having the pronunciations.
What do we think of the recruitment? What do we think of the recruitment there? And producer, you can go first and just protect your work of art, obviously.
Oh no, there's no defending that. That's I think I made these after putting my son down for a nap and thought I'll try and knock out a couple of these. So there's no excuses here. But again, what do you want from me? I'm on school holidays. Leave me alone. Kurt Capewell, nice signing, very nice signing. Didn't actually see that coming. So when all the talk and the chat was coming around, I thought it was just throwaway comments. But they got him there, and that's huge. Chanel Harris-Tavita, I think he's put down as a halfback, isn't he? So I don't know how much game time he'll actually get. There's a couple of people there in the halves that are doing quite well. And Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, I think everyone's really excited to have him back from rugby. We all knew that experiment wasn't going to last forever. I think he even said that he was going to come back. So it's good to see Roger back with the Warriors to, again, really push that finals really late into the season. And I'd love to see them go one better.
Yep, I agree. Adam, thoughts?
Yeah, look, Kurt Capewell's obviously a pretty big signing. Getting on, he's starting to move around a few clubs, but obviously that experience of the broken Oscars last year where he played his football.
I don't know what's happened here.
Jeremy is a teacher, by the way, guys. So I just want to put that out there.
You know what I'm blaming? I'm blaming the magic keyboard. It's too little.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But look, obviously the plus of the Warriors is Chanel Harris-Tavita and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck have had a couple of years away from playing sport. So obviously Chanel had a year off for his Kentucky, and Roger was a winger in rugby union, and wingers in rugby union don't touch the ball. So they've had a couple of years off, and they'll be fresh and ready to go. Look, Roger, back. Yeah, they believe Roger's going to play in the centres or on the wing. He's not going to try and take that fullback spot, is the rumour. We'll see how that goes. I think he'll end up at fullback by the time the year's done. And Chanel, look, obviously he was a 5'8" when he left. Luke Medcalf obviously stepped in last year to play 5'8". So I think Chanel's probably going to have to bide his time and earn his way back into the team because Medcalf Jeremy had him in his team in the season, didn't he, at the back end of the year?
Yeah, I really rated him. He just played his role and did it really well.
I mean, so that's all he has to do. Like, I guess the biggest thing for Chanel is coming back. And we all know how good Sean Johnson was last year, who could be his last year this year. It's if Sean can do it again and stay injury-free, obviously getting on in his career as well. So Chanel's a pretty good handy backup to have there. Obviously, can play 5'8" halfback and slot in there to give Sean a rest maybe off the bench at the back end of games if they're going to play him as like a 14, or if Sean goes down, gets injured, or just can't produce that form. I'm not saying they're going to drop him, but obviously I think Chanel there's safe for the future as well. He's still very young, I believe, about 24, 25. So, we're going to run through the losses. So, start with the losses.
Yeah, I've already run through the losses. You can give me your opinion.
Yeah, I know you ran through them, but I meant, opinion. So, look, Curran, as we touched on, at the Bulldogs, and it's a good signing for the Bulldogs, but not a bad loss for the Warriors, as we touched on last week. He's pretty prone to a head knock and a suspension, so not going to lose it too much. They've got quite a few good, solid second rowers. Sorensen, same thing, in and out, kind of all around there in first grade and reserve grade. I don't even know who the other bloke is. I'm not even going to say his name. I know you know him, Joel, so I'm not even going to bother. And Willie Army, like I said, kind of around that reserve grade, come in a bit last year. He's been around quite a while, and they're playing down the south coast now. So they all say retired, but they're still happy to play around and get $1,000 a game on the local team before they fully retire.
What's the local team up here that has? Is it the pub team that's just paying people absolute overs?
Oh, Dora Creek.
Other teams are forfeiting against them because they don't want to play them.
Dora Creek, yeah, but Dora Creek have actually
that's right.
They won the grand, close to you. They won the grand final in the Newcastle Community Comp last year. With blokes like Penny Terapo and that there as well. But they're in the Central Coast Comp this year, so they've stepped up the Central Coast Comp. They'll go down there and win that. They're blokes on $1,500 a game.
Look out! We might have to preview the Central Coast Comp this year. Have our on the grounds reporters in Adam and Jez. So.
That's it. Dora Creek win.
Yeah,
but
Dora Creek win.
Newcastle Comp's obviously lost.
Yeah,
the Warangaroos and the Entrance Tigers are in the Newcastle Comp as well. They still have teams in Central Coast Comp, but they're in the Newcastle Comp, which is obviously a lot stronger. The Entrance have signed Blake Austin, Dave Feeder. I believe they've signed Wade Graham, hasn't been announced yet as well. Don't know how they're going to get the points under there. So they've signed quite well, but coming against a Maitland team who's won the last 3 comps in a row. So very interesting.
Well, we digress, but
we digress.
They'd be a good team in the NRL. So, what about our ratings here for the recruitment and retention? Obviously, I think we've decided to put the retention as well. We've got that thanks to Zero Tackle, the visuals down below for those watching on YouTube. Once again, thank you for all your support. Follows are going drastic skywards, really. So make sure you do hit the subscribe button when you do watch the video. I'll kick us off. I really do think Kurt Capewell is a really nice signing. It adds that a bit more experience as well to the side, which I really don't. I don't mind the Warriors' chance at all. We'll talk about it this year a bit more in depth in a minute. But honestly, I've got to give this a 9 out of 10. I really like this recruitment for the Warriors, and they've let go. Look, I think Curran is a bit of a loss, but I think it does get overcome by the arrival of Capewell there. So I'm going a 9 out of 10, boys.
Yep, it's right up there, especially with the last. Well, actually, all 3 of those gains are really big gains, and in some really nice positions as well. Just having a look at the re-sign and off contract. So we spoke about Sean Johnson. This is probably his last season, but then you've got Luke Metcalf, who is off contract at the end of the year. So he has a really big season coming up, and he really needs to hold on to that position and not let Chanel Harris-Tavita back in the side, because he might find himself out of the team and then out of a contract as well. So big season for him coming up. I am going to give it an 8.5 for those signings, just because Josh Curran is a pretty big loss. We spoke about that he injury prone and suspension prone, but he was impactful when he came on. So yeah, 8.5.
I like that. Ads?
I'm giving him a 10. I reckon it's the best gains and losses of any team going in this year. I said Capewell, obviously coming off that good season last year with Brisbane. I know he's 31. It was an odd move, not really something we saw at Rumour. We didn't see it coming. The fact he was leaving Brisbane. The fact he's gone over there playing good footy. Chanel Harris-Tavita was a great 5'8", obviously, before he left, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but now what he got, and the players they've lost to, really nothing. But the reason I'm giving it such a 10 out of 10 is, like Jeremy said, you look at their re-sign and their off-contract list. They're a team that's got it all good. Like, they've got it right. They've got their balance right. Like Jeremy said, you've obviously got Luke Metcalf, Chanel coming back. But if Sean Johnson is to retire, it's a pretty easy thing to re-sign Luke Medcalf for whatever money he wants if he does have a good season. The only other big player they've got coming off contract, and look, I'll say I don't know all of these young players coming through, but is Jaz Tabunga. And Jaz will be getting on a bit. He's been around quite a while as well, but he seems like one of those blokes that is just happy to be there, happy to be at the Warriors. Doesn't really look like he wants to leave, so I can't imagine he's going to go anywhere else for money if the contract is right there for him. So, yeah, look, I'll give him a 10. It's hard to say a team's perfect because you don't know what the year could bring in, what injuries could bring in. You can say, look, they could have brought something in, but what they've let go and what they've brought in, it's as close as you can get.
What about the name there off contract? Patrick Moimoy. Is that the good old Fui Moimoy's son or something?
No, I didn't even know who he was.
It just brings
No
me
relation?
back some happy flashbacks.
I'm going to Google him.
There's not many Moimoys out there. There has to be. It has to be a relation somehow.
I'll find out for you. I'll just message
as you find that out. Yeah, just send Philly a message while you get that message sorted out. Jez, you can talk to us about the positives for this season coming up for the Warriors.
Well, it's just the momentum from last year. I think as a fan, up the wires. As a fan of last year, even though they pumped the Knights in that final, I was still not that bummed that they had such a fantastic year. And I honestly think they can ride that momentum with these additional signings. I think they can go that one step further. And I would not be surprised. I know it's so early to say, and everybody does this, but I would not be surprised if we see them there in the grand final at the end of the year. They are going to have a massive year, and I'm really just pumped to see what the Warriors can produce. So it's just all about momentum. And Adam spoke about the balance of the team, and I think they have the balance really right. And that's going to project them further in this competition. Fingers crossed there's no injuries or suspensions. All teams have to come across that adversity, but I think they have the depth there to cover most of those positions if there is something. So it's looking good for the Warriors. Plus, they had a really good home strip. Like, we all liked their jersey.
All I can find on
the color on that thing.
All I can find on Patrick Moimoy is he's only 19. So obviously, you think he'd be re-signed. He's made his debut in New South Wales Cup at the back end of last year. He's 103 kilos, 185 centimetre, 19-year-old centre.
Wow.
So if he is a relation to Philly and the Warriors decide to get rid of him, BA, just watch out that one. I know you're a big listener of the podcast. See what we can do, because Brian Smith made one of the greatest signings in history when Fui Moimoy was shown the door from South Sydney.
Yeah, I listened to the. I didn't listen. I looked up the stats today of the podcast actually, and it was funny. Number one listener was based in Kellyville, so I think that's actually BA just sitting in his office before training and after training, just listening to us and our thoughts, obviously.
I said he'd be the first coach sacked for 2024. Oops.
You're in the naughty corner nowadays.
Well, I can't spell, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with the positives. I've actually listened to a few people recently, and there's not many people rapping the Warriors, and they reckon that they'll be the sliders of the top four. I can't see it. If anything, I see the Warriors getting stronger. Like, I actually think this side can really, really give this competition a shake this year. Like, I look at it, and I know we'll go into our concerns next, but to basically segue into it, I can't really see a concern. Like, I know there's obviously the coach. Adams obviously has his second year at the job there for the Warriors, and we're going to be able to see what he's got to do there. But for me, that's really all, because the depth just improved a lot with these signings. Like, as we see the losses, that doesn't really get impacted by the gains. The only probably concern for mine is AFB and how his head will be throughout this year for Noah Blake. If there's going to be murmurs and he wants to get released early to go back to be a family in Sydney or whatever. But apart from that, I can't see much, and I just think it's upwards for the Warriors in 2024. Adam?
Yeah, I've got them finishing in the top four again. They're always one of those hard teams to judge, because when you expect something from the Warriors, they seem to disappoint. And you throw me off spot. I was still trying to find out if Patrick Moimoy was a relation. I'm looking at the size of this bloke, and he's got to be. He's got to be. But look, I don't see him sliding at all. But I guess a lot of it comes down to their draw, which I haven't really had a good look at. But the main thing for the Warriors is, and it's what they did well last year, they need to come to Australia and win their games. There's no point, obviously having the form there in New Zealand and being so destructive over there and being able to take them down, making a place where teams don't want to travel and coming over to Australia, you still need to win at least half your away games, obviously finishing that top 4. And that's where they need to be, because if they can't do it during the regular season and they get to obviously the final season, they finish 5th to 8, it means they've only got one home game. And the biggest advantage for the Warriors last year was that game back in New Zealand against Newcastle. Because if that game was played in Sydney or for some reason, obviously closer to Newcastle, I can guarantee it would have been a different result. They got on the back of the momentum that was built over there. People jumped off that shit sport called rugby union and jumped on the Warriors there, and it was huge over there. And that's honestly the truth. The World Cup kind of snuck up on people in New Zealand. It was massive how you didn't hear about it over there. It was just everyone up the wires. Like, we all jumped on the bandwagon, which I'm still denying. I did not do that. But look, that's their biggest thing. They need to obviously find that consistency and be able to do it. My biggest concern for them is if someone
up the wires.
Yeah, that's not me.
That is Adam.
That's not me. No, it's voiceover. My voice sounds much clearer than that. So if someone like Sean Johnson does go down, I think we can kind of rule him out for the season. He went down early. That's my biggest concern.
I don't know about that.
Okay, well, who's going to?
I know Chanel Harris-Tavita will. He'll
never
step
been
up.
a sparky player. He's had the chances to do that before when he was there without Sean Johnson. He wasn't doing it. Where'd they come?
Yeah, but I just think it's stronger all around the park this time. So I know Sean Johnson was Sean Johnson last year.
Are you saying his time on Kentucky and playing his way through Europe has matured him as a player? Is that what you're saying?
And if there's any lawyers out there, his name's Adam. Please send him a message. Don't come at the page for the strong allegations that are made each and every week at the moment. You've come out. I think you need to have another break for a few weeks. I honestly just think they've got enough there to. If like Johnson was phenomenal, do not get me wrong, and he needs to be up there and playing that similar form this year for the Warriors. But I wouldn't write him off. If he did have an early injury, I wouldn't write the Warriors off completely. I'd say yes, it's going to be harder for him, but I wouldn't say completely. Like, the addition of RTS, Capewell for experience is huge. Harris-Tavita, he's been there, done it before, so he's had a year off to clear his head, clear some other stuff, and
just for the record, for those
get
lawyers,
himself right.
For those lawyers, I was talking about the cold weather. I believe he did operate a plough business over there. His name is Mr. Plough. That's his name. His name again is Mr. Plough. So that's what I meant. I don't know where you were going with it, but he's allowed to work when he's off from the NRL. That's what he was doing, just helping people with their snow.
Jez, what do you got for us? So we can try and steer us back, please.
I can't say much more than what you two have said, especially around the Mr. Plough stuff. But I have found a photo of Patrick Moy.
Yeah, he's huge.
So I'll show you how big this dude is. Let's get this up here. Look at this guy.
This is it.
Look how big he is.
He's a big boy.
That's Moy's son. That has to be Moy. That has to be Phil's son.
Look at the size comparison.
That's
not
my
him.
Goodness.
Mate,
that's not Patrick.
Yes, it is.
No, this is Patrick.
Oh dear.
Oh, for those YouTube viewers, Adam's just shown us Shane Shackleton at his absolute best back in the day. Honestly, I'd say that was arguably one of the best segments. And guys, I've got Shane Shackleton coming on next week, so can't wait to chat all things footy with Shane Shackleton. What's that? Oh, he's just cancelled. Let's rate the finishing position in our brackets for the Warriors. I've got them 1st to 4th. I think they're right up there again this year. Yes.
Wonderful. Yep, wonderful.
Yeah, and I think, Adam, you've already given us a sneak peek. Yep. There we go.
Wonderful.
Next.